Hey everybody, it's Jason and welcome back to my channel. This is the 11th video in a series covering the reassembly of a 1987 Honda XL600 basket case. Today we're going to concentrate on rebuilding the front shocks. I hope you enjoy it.
They're not in bad shape at all. You know, they're not the prettiest of things. Maybe I'll give them a little buff up on the aluminum in the bottom here, but really they don't look that bad. A little bit of grease and whatnot. We can clean it up. Of course, we're going to have to change the seals. I've got them here already. I've ordered them. Something else that's really important is the condition of these upper portions. See how nice and clean they are? There can't be any pitting or any rust, anything really. They should be like mirrors. If there is something that on there, if you do have a problem with a little bit of pitting, you can try to buff it out with a little bit of very fine sandpaper. It'll get you through. You know, some people will just live with weepy seals. These ones actually don't seem to be weeping at all. But I mean, we're going to this much trouble, we might as well take care of it. Really, if you're taking this bike out and using it, you know, like it should be used, yeah, you should have good seals on there. If you just use it on your farm to bomb around the property and check the fence every now and then, you know, leaky seals are leaky seals. It seems to me that the easiest way to take a shock apart is actually to have it mounted in the bike. It's not mounted in here permanently, it's just in here so that it's easier to work on. But they're kind of slippery things, and they're kind of messy. If you try to do this on the bench top, then you're probably going to have to put this into a clamp of some kind or a vise, and then you risk the chance of you know, deforming this, and then you're in trouble. So I just use what Honda gave me, which is you know, the triple tree that's on the bike. Put it in, tighten it down, and you won't have any trouble. Up here at the very top, there's a little air nipple, you know, like on an inner tube or your tire, so you can inflate the shock to, you know, give it a little bit more pressure according to your ride. I personally don't have any pressure, or don't like any pressure in it, but I'm not sure how these ones are set up. So all you have to do is just, yeah, see, this has got pressure in it. Okay, just get that pressure out, because when you start opening it up, you don't want any pressure in there to start blowing stuff in your face, right? All right, now you want to make sure you've got something to catch the old oil. That's the oil from the first shock. The footage you're seeing is kind of a combination of both shocks. All right, so way down here at the bottom of the bike, we got this little drain plug. We've got a pail underneath just to catch what's in there. Okay, so we'll just loosen that off. We'll turn it. It should just pop right out. There might be a little bit of pressure, but not much. Poof, there we go. And we'll just let that drain. Now you're not going to get very much at this point, because the whole shock is still kind of sealed right at the top. So as soon as we release the seal, then the vacuum will disappear and it'll flow right out. You'll see. Okay, at the very bottom of the shock, there's a 6mm bolt. Got to come out. Okay. Okay. Now once you get that out, you're going to probably start to see this start to come out a little bit heavier. There you go. All right, with all that going on, what we're going to do is we're going to take this top cap off. So that's a 17mm wrench, and it can be on there quite tough, actually. There we go. You could use an impact on that, I suppose, but it's aluminum on aluminum, very, very, you know, sensitive threads, so I'd rather not push it too hard. And as you're taking this thing off, you've got to realize that there is a little bit of spring pressure, okay, on this, pushing it up. So just keep your face back, keep your second hand on the top. It's not a lot of pressure, but it's a little bit of a spring, just a little push, nothing crazy. There we go. See, it's just a little bit of pressure, but every shock is different. I would never want a chance just wheeling the thing off without it blowing up in my face. Okay, now that this is apart, we can take it off the bike out of the triple tree, and we can do the rest on the bench. First of all, there's the little cap. It's got a little O-ring there. Okay. And there's a sleeve that comes out. You always have to pay attention to how it comes apart, right? And then as you go down, you can just slide the shock down. There's a little thrust washer. And then there's the spring itself, and see how it just wants to slide. And the other thing is, notice in the bottom there how much oil has come out. So as soon as you sort of break the seal on the on the top, then all the fluid rushes out. But let's take a look at this spring. And you'll notice at the bottom that it's kind of tapered here at the end, okay? And at the top, it's square. So there is an up and a down, and you'll see too, like the bottom here gets a little bit tighter in the coils, it opens up, right, towards the top. So you have to take notice of this stuff and put it back in the right way. Okay. All right, now all we're left with is the rest of the shock, and you can just give it a few strokes just to blow out that last little bit of oil. All right. Okay, give her a little shake. Okay, we'll bring it back over the table here, and then there's this plunger system that comes out just like that. Okay, there's a little seal there. That spring, see, that's pretty dirty. There's some chunks and flakes in there. Not sure where it's all from, but it's not bad actually. I've seen a lot worse, and there's no water in here, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we're in good shape. We're gonna get this plastic dust ring off. Just be very careful. The replacement kit I bought doesn't include this plastic thing, so I want to take it off as carefully as possible. Okay, don't want to deform it. Comes off really easily though. Inside of there is a little spring. You see it right there? There. See the bit of it right there. You can probably see it better. A little bit of an angle here. It goes right around. It's like a little circlip, only it's not quite so fancy. So all you need to do is get a fine screwdriver in there, pop that out, and then that will come out, and then you can have access to the seal on the inside. So just bear with me, okay? Getting this little clip out is one of life's great tests of patience. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. Now, I like to use these little hooks too. They help a lot. So I'll just slip that around there like so. So it can't go back in, which it's going to want to, of course. All right, then we're going to rotate it. All right, and then we'll go to the next little, see if I can get you in there so you can see this. There, that might be a little better. Okay, now of course I can't see, but you just get your screwdriver in there. There we go, and just pull her out. Perfect. So now what we're left with is, I can't see, it's just the seal, and I think there's a plate on the other side of that seal. Now, I don't know if this is the approved Honda way of doing it, but this is the Jason way of doing it. We just, there you go. Give her a couple of whacks and out it comes. All right. That piece is locked. It's not coming off. That little thing just butts into it. That's a thrust washer that goes in the bottom, and there's the seal that we're about to replace. It doesn't look too bad. Well, it's hard. It's really hard. Like the rubbers, there's not much give there, so. Time to be replaced, and it's the kind of thing you should do every now and then anyway. They're quite inexpensive. It's a little bit of a challenge to do it, but it's not that bad. Everything cleaned up beautifully. Ultrasonic cleaner. Love my ultrasonic cleaner.
These rubber seals are really good, no issues there. Everything is spick and span, very happy. The lower portion of the shocks look awesome. Clean them up as you saw. Wipe the springs down. I'm ready to put her back together. There's the new gaskets. There's different ways you can buy these gaskets. You can get them in kits that I think will come with these dust covers. I believe in the older, like the 83, there's also another little dust cover that goes in there, so you might want to pay attention to that. Just depends what bike you've got. Sometimes it's worth taking it apart before you order your parts, just to make sure that you know, there's not a year-specific issue. So the bolts that pass through the lower part of the shock body have copper gaskets involved with them, and I like to replace copper gaskets where possible. I know I've talked about this before, but these little kits, I got this one on eBay years and years ago, are awesome. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it really wasn't very much. And it's fit everything I've needed so far. Now, they might not be perfect matches, but a copper gasket, you know, is a copper gasket, right? You know, if you're into bikes, a lot of stuff, there's a lot of copper gaskets, a lot of small engines, hydraulics use these copper gaskets. I'd recommend you pick one of these kits up. I think it was like $10 years ago, and I've used a lot of stuff out of it. So, yeah. Anyway, I always replace all the copper. All right, I was going through the footage last night, and I realized that I forgot to show you something. This little piece here, okay, goes on the end of this piston, okay. It goes in here, so you didn't actually see me take it out, all right? Yeah, very important. Before you even think about any seals, that's got to go in place, like so. And then this, insert this into the end, let it slide down. You got to turn it upright now, holding that little plug in the bottom, right? And you just got to make sure that thing seats itself. There we go. Yep, there I can feel it. Okay. Now what I've done is I've put the spring in, okay, just for now. And the reason I've done that is it has to put a little bit of tension on that little cap that I showed you before. It has to put a little bit of tension on that so that it doesn't spin when you try to put this bolt on, okay? This bolt does not have to go on any more than finger tight right now, okay? You want to make sure that you've got that secured before you put the seal on. Okay, well, so we can set her back down, and we can pull out the spring for now and get that seal in. All right, so here's the new seal. See, there's manufacturer's printing on the top. That always faces up. If you look on the back, it's the grooved side, so that's the sealed side that goes towards the fluid. All right, so that will go down. And what I like to do with rubber seals to make them go on a bit better is I use a little bit of silicone lube. It seems to really make rubber slippery. Before I seat it, I've got that spacer in there. Remember, I actually never took it off the shock just so I wouldn't forget about it. I just left it in, and then you can just seat that like so. Kind of give it a little start with your fingers. Very good. And here is the tricky part, because how do you seat that seal on there with the shaft in place? And the answer to that is there's a crazy Honda part that you'd have to buy, or I just use a piece of 1.5 inch ABS that's cut nice and cleanly on one end. It slides perfectly over top of the top part of the shaft, and then it fits really nicely onto the top of that seal. Okay, and that is the secret weapon here. Second part of the secret weapon is my rubber mallet. All you're going to do is you're just going to tap it on just like you would any other seal, very carefully. And like I said before, a little bit of silicone lube on there makes things go just that much easier. Okay, so let's hose her down. Awesome. And we'll start giving her some light taps.
That's really all you need to do, you know. There's no hurry at all here. Just check on it every now and then, make sure it's going in even. You can see it's down. Now you'll know it's in place when you can see that little ring, right, that goes around where that spring holds it in place. Okay, so I've been banging on it for a while, and you can feel when it seats, like it starts to hit hard, right? The top starts to get kind of solid, and sure enough, if you look, you can see that little groove around the bottom part of the shock where that spring fits in, and then you know you're there. Patience, 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 patience. There we go. That one's in all the way around. Awesome. Another thing I haven't talked about is are these gaiters, okay? I took them off quite a while ago and I soaked them in various oils and potions and tried to clean them up, but they're not in great shape. Well, they're still a little bit rubbery, but they're not coming clean. So I am going to put gaiters back on this bike, okay? The thing is, I'm probably not going to put these gaiters back on. For now, I'm just going to slip them back on, and that way I'll have them kind of in front of me, and I won't forget that I need to order them, because I'm not used to the bike having them. My other XLs don't have gaiters. For the rest of the assembly of the shocks, I'm going to put them back into the bike. Again, it's just a lot easier to have them somewhere kind of mounted and held in place. It's not the last mounting of the shocks, you know, because of the gaiters and a few other things. But for right now, this will be perfect. Just going to leave them just a little bit above top edge of the triple tree. And I'll snug them in. Okay, everything goes back in the way it came out. So again, the compressions in the spring are a lot smaller. It kind of bevels. That goes in first. So, same thing here. Right, some. Okay, we've got our two thrust washers. Right. Our sleeves. All right. Finally, right for now, I'm just going to put these caps in temporarily. I'm not going to tighten them all the way yet because I've got to put the fluid in, right? Why is that up? There we go. Okay, so push that down, a little bit of pressure, put that on. Again, finger tight's really all we need for right now, and I'll show you why. Okay, so the reason we put that unit up top back in without putting any fluid in is because these have to be under tension in order to tighten, okay? So, and we have to tighten these first because if we don't, then the fluid will leak around them. All these have the copper washers / gaskets on them. Okay, good. There's probably a proper torque for these, but tight is good. Okay, good. Drain screws have to get put back in, and they have to be snugged up as well. Good. Good. So now these things are ready to take fluid.
The manual calls for each fork to be filled with 455 milliliters of automatic transmission fluid, just regular old automotive ATF, and that's all I've ever used. Of course, you can use motorcycle fork oil and whatever viscosity you desire. It really depends on what you're going to use the bike for and how you want the ride to feel. Make sure that you add the fluid slowly and that your equipment is clean. It's also a good idea to put the same amount of fluid into each shock just to keep everything balanced. Once that's done, everything can be tightened down and the shocks are good to go. That's going to be it for this video, so mission accomplished. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoy this stuff, I really would appreciate it if you would subscribe. It really helps my channel grow, and that's what I want it to do. Bye for now.